So we've all heard it before that please, I need one more drink. Please read one more story. It is super, super common in every single toddler and preschool bedtime, but now you're going to have the strategies to be able to change all that. So hi, I'm Vincent Kesey. I am a pediatric sleep consultant, certified postpartum doula, and mom of 3. So I have been there. I have done all of these things, and I'm going to have 3 strategies for you today that are going to change your bedtime routines, because we're going to talk about holding boundaries. Holding boundaries during a bedtime routine is huge because preschoolers are famous for just wanting to push all those buttons, wanting to know exactly like, what can I do? What can I get away with? How far are you going to let me push you? So today we're going to really talk about holding those boundaries strong so that none of that can happen and they're able to fall asleep peacefully because they know exactly where those boundaries lie. So first, before I even talk about the strategies, we have to talk about why toddlers push those buttons. And it's because, and preschoolers, they want that power. They need to know that they are in control of something because so much of their life they are not in control of. Where they go, what they do. So we're just trying to help them feel empowered, but also be able to do the things that we need them to do and that they need to do in order to be able to rest their bodies and to be able to fall asleep easily. So preschoolers are going to push buttons in every single area of their life. They're going to figure out what the rules are. What can I do? What can't I do? But to figure out where that line lies, they have to do all of the things to figure it out before they realize, okay, this one is a yes, but this one is a no. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, holding boundaries at bedtime, is something I like to call last sip. And I love this because if you ever had that, I'm so hungry, I'm so thirsty, right as you're tucking them into bed, this is going to be a really, really helpful one for you. So how it works is you would say, okay, bedtime is coming in 10 minutes. If you need a snack or a drink, right now is the time to do it. Because we don't want to be that parent that's like, nope, you can't have a drink. Nope, you can't have no water for you. Anything like that, because that just really doesn't feel good. But if you know, I just offered them the chance to have this snack, to have this drink, and they don't take it, then it feels a little bit better of I offered and you didn't take me up on that offer, so now I'm going to hold this boundary firm. So before that bedtime routine comes, you let them know 10 minutes until bedtime. If you need a snack or a drink, now is the time. I like to call it last sip. So I'll just kind of call out to my children now, last sip, time to get your last sip. And they know exactly what that means. They'll come to the kitchen, grab their water bottles, drink, maybe ask for some kind of snack. We try to do something a little bit more filling, like a carb and a protein, so that they won't be hungry overnight. And I can feel good about knowing they just had a nice, good snack before they went to bed. So if they tell me 20 minutes later, as I'm tucking them in, that they're hungry, I know that they just had a snack and I can hold that boundary firm. So last sip is a huge one, just to be able for you to feel good about holding that boundary and to be able to actually hold that boundary. Because if it's something that you're teetering on, you're really not going to be able to solidly and confidently hold that boundary every single night. If you're like, well, they didn't really eat that great at dinner, they were kind of fooling around. So this way, you know, I can hold that boundary firm. The second strategy is to stick to a countdown. So we always want to prepare our children for what is coming next so they know. If you were sitting at your computer working and then all of a sudden someone just came and scooped you up and brought you somewhere else into a different room, you'd be upset. You'd be really mad. You'd be really frustrated and want to finish whatever it was you were working on to either a point of completion or to like a good place to stop before you got up and moved on. And our children feel the same way, especially as they're getting older. Preschoolers really have this whole thought process and their play is getting more complex. So we don't just want to scoop them up from whatever they're doing and drag them to start bedtime routine. So we really need to stick to having, I call it a countdown, but having some warnings about when things are coming. So let them know, okay, now is last sip, then you have 5 more minutes to play until we're going to go upstairs or go to the bathroom or whatever it is to start bedtime routine. And this just really gives them the time to wind up, kind of wrap some things up, finish up whatever they're doing before you go. So you can do this a couple of different ways. You can have a timer, either on your phone or like we use a kitchen timer that you can let them know, okay, once this timer goes off, bedtime is coming. But let them know 5 minutes is, who knows how long 5 minutes is to a preschooler. They have no concrete example of time. They don't know how long 5 minutes is versus 1 minute versus 20 minutes. So letting them know, okay, I'm going to start this 5-minute timer, but then letting them know, okay, you have 3 minutes left in the timer. Take a look, 3 minutes left. Oh, 1 minute left. Wrap up what you're doing because then we're going to get going. So really just setting them up for success and letting them know. Sometimes if you say, okay, 5 more minutes, that could feel like forever. And then when that 5 minutes is up, they're still really upset because they didn't get to wrap up and finish whatever they wanted. It felt like they had a really long time. So counting it down for them, letting them know that the end is near is really going to be helpful just to help transition. And then you hold that boundary. Once the timer is up, the timer is up. Then it's not, okay, I'll put another 5 minutes on, or okay, I'll let you play for 1 more minute. It's just like when this timer is done, we're going to hold firm to that boundary, and then we're going to move on. Say you have something to do, though. This is just like a little extra tip. If you are in the middle of something too, and that that timer is going to come off, just add a couple more minutes. Add another minute or two. They're not going to know, but you are still going to hold really firm to that boundary when that timer does go off. So you can buy yourself some extra time and adjust things, but know by the end of it, you have to hold that boundary too. So you also have to be the one that's really holding firm to it. And then the third strategy is when they're picking books. This is a big one because we always get into one more book. We've started doing chapter books with my 2 boys. My 5-year-old started doing them at school and he really likes them. They read a chapter a day, so I decided to adopt that and do it at home as well. So every night it's like one more chapter, one more page, one more this. So we have really set that boundary. When we started the chapter books, I said each night we're just going to read 1 chapter. No matter what happens in that chapter, no matter how gripping and exciting it is at the end, we're just doing the 1 chapter. So, but when we did books, so he knows that 1 chapter is over. When we did books, I would have them each pick out a book. Depending on how much time at bedtime, maybe they were doing really awesome listening and we kind of flew through everything, then maybe we had time and they could each pick an extra book. But typically they would each get to pick 1 book. I have 2 boys that share a room, so we do bedtime with them together. If you have a child that, you just do 1 bedtime with each of them, or you just have 1 child and do bedtime with them, have a set number of books. And every single night, this is the number of books that we read. Whether it's 2 books, 3 books, I really don't recommend more than 3 because then we can bedtime routine should ideally be between 20 and 30 minutes, so we don't want to go too far. So when you have those books, you have them choose those books beforehand. So when these 3 books are done, that means that we are complete. Bedtime is done and it's time to get into your crib or your bed. We're talking about preschoolers, so most likely your bed. So this just really helps eliminate all of that. If you read a book and then have them pick a new book, they're just going to keep, as the book ends, going to get a new book. But this way, you have the 3 books set. You can have a stack of them. Once that stack is done, that means that book time is over. So it really just helps them have a concrete example of this is the last book in the stack. That means no more books will be offered. So these are 3 really great examples of times to hold firm those boundaries at bedtime. If you do this and take this advice, you're going to see such a difference in your bedtime routine. Again, children love to push boundaries, so holding those boundaries really firm is going to make all the difference. If you need any additional sleep support, these strategies are great, but you feel like you need a little bit more, please don't hesitate, reach out. I create one-to-one plans for families to help you achieve your personal sleep success. So if you have any questions, or let me know in the comments, is your child one that is always begging for a snack or a drink or 1 more book? If they are kind of those boundary pushers, pop it in the comments. I would love to hear all about it.